Balake. Where is Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. Ron.
Ron is here, everyone. We are doing another edition of Askin' SP with the lovely Marilyn Honig. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. I just realized that I meant to link to your channel in the description, and it's not actually hyperlinked, and I'm not even sure I have the right name. So while I have you, hold on, let me pull it up. I'm so sorry to do this.
It's okay.
I'm going into it's Colt's Coffee and Crafts, right?
It's coffee first.
See, I knew it. I knew
coffee. The coffee first.
Okay.
There's
There you are. Coffee, Colts, and Crafts. Boom. Okay, now you're hyperlinked in the video description.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone. I
what
love
you talking
doing these
about?
sets.
What you talking about,
Willis?
My favorite coffee.
By the way, these Askin' SP videos, I just think they're such an awesome idea. And I want to extend an invite to anyone out there in the TikTok crew or the YouTube crew that's out there in Hollywood Boulevard. If you ever want to do one of these Askin' SP videos with any former Scientologist, it's educational, it's fun, it's social, and it's just an all-around good time. So if you want to do it with me, email me at growingupinscientology@gmail.com, and I'm happy to do a never-ending supply of these kind of videos. What are we talking about today?
Okay, so I had tons of notes. I even wrote them on goldenrod paper and all that, but I'm going to throw them away for now. I'd like to switch gears, and I want to talk about things that are timely, right? Today. So I was watching. I'm going to preface this. I was watching your walkthrough last night in Clearwater, and shout out to your friend George and the lovely ladies who I love, Tampa B, Clearwater Cheryl, and Lori Plays. Oh, they're fabulous. And I want to zero in on one aspect of, and there's many things that happen with the buses and the people and Tampa Brad and all that, and I'm sure you'll be talking about that later. But there was this moment when there was a family that walked by, a couple with a teenage son, and you guys were very friendly. You weren't antagonistic or anything. You were like, "Hey, you going to course?" And the father looked at you like, "Huh?" And you're like, "Oh, you're not Scientologist?" So then you started to tell him, who you were, what you guys were doing, and he's like, "Oh, that's nice." And he was nice, and he looked like he was kind of ready to go on his way. And I looked at the teenage son. And he stood there and he was fixated on you. And he just seemed so super interested. Like he was like not ready to leave. And I looked at him and I said, that's the future. And so that's what I want to talk about. I want to get your input and reaction on what is going on here. I feel, myself, I'm watching this as an old lady, I'm 53 years old. And I know that the TikTok generation, I don't even know how to get in there, is what, 16 to 40. And I just think back of all the movements, the civil rights movement, women's suffrage, you name it. It wasn't always polite, things happen, but it got things done. It got the interest and the attention of the powers that be. So that's my spiel about it. But as an ex-Scientologist, I want you to give me your take on it for everyone that's listening. What's happening? It seems like there's a change of the guard and change of focus and just, yeah.
Well, I think any movement to really expand and catch fire, it has to be embraced by the youngest, most motivated, most ambitious demographic that it can be. And one of the reasons I'm not all about that TikTok life is like you. I'm an old person. I'm now 43 years old.
Oh my God.
And it took me days to figure out. It took me days how to figure out how to even find someone on TikTok. Like, it's ridiculous. And I'll give you a funny little demographic info about my channel. 75% of my audience is over the age of 45. 75%. That's incredible considering the age demographic on YouTube skews very young. And so, the age demographic for TikTok is clearly much younger, as evidenced by the difference in policies. You can't swear on TikTok. You can swear like a trucker on YouTube. It just can't be within the first few minutes of your video, and it can't be in every sentence. Right. So the fact that so many of the TikTok community are getting involved in the Scientology activism. And also, I happen to love that a lot of them are doing dual platforms. They're either migrating over to YouTube or doing YouTube and TikTok. I just think that that is what is needed in order for something like this to like just totally catch fire, to the point where the level of awareness on a national level and a global level that Scientology has to lose its tax exempt status. That's not, you could have 20 different channels doing videos about that. But it doesn't matter how many channels are doing it. It matters how broad of a reach that message is getting. And I think when that message is embraced by the younger demographic or the younger generation, that's how it spreads as far and wide as possible. And that generation is the generation that eventually grows up and gets into elected office themselves or gets into important appointed positions in government.
Absolutely.
And it's creating that awareness in the younger age group that will, over time, really pay off. And that's just why I think it's so exciting. It's so exciting.
Yeah.
And we're not all competing for the same audience. We are competing to grow the audience and reach as many people as possible. And so, the more people doing it, the better. Like it's not a lot of people fighting for the same audience. It's a lot of people helping to grow the audience. And that's why I think it's so exciting. And it's why I love promoting any channels that are getting involved in this. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to help promote these other guys as well. Like I love it. I mean, I want to, it's really, it energizes me just thinking about it.
Do you think that the game plan, the focus, the tactic, whatever you want to call it, has evolved into something else? I'll explain. So, what I was thinking about this morning is that if we really want to cut the head off of the beast, which is Scientology, right? Telling the stories of the abuses and the Sea Org and all that, I think it's been very helpful. It was very helpful for me to help me deprogram from and just deconstruct and heal from my cult experience. And I think that a lot of people can really relate to that, thinking of the Aftermath show and all that. It's also helped to create awareness of cult abuse and what's happening in Scientology. But as far as getting the attention of law enforcement, of Congress, of all that, this has been this movement's been going on for probably 2 decades, right? Of really, getting the word out that Scientology sucks and it's horrible. But there's been a blind eye, a deaf ear from the powers that be. Do you think that this breathing new life into this and having the young people and the hashtags and really, putting forth, not only trying to get people out and rescue them, which has been going on forever, but also just getting the attention of people that actually can, get rid of the tax status of Scientology to maybe even create new laws about trafficking and things like that. So that's my question to you is, do you think that this is like a different and maybe more effective on that vein?
Well, I think it does take the game to the HNL, the whole nother level.
We're so cool. Look at us, 43 and 53.
A couple things that I want to say to that is, I know it doesn't look like the government's doing anything or the authorities are doing anything, but the truth is they very, very much are. And it takes a long time for the wheels of justice to roll, but they do roll. They roll slowly, but they do roll. And also there's a difference between the parts of the government, the agencies that do the investigating, dig up the dirt, connect all the dots and make cases, and the politicians who have to have the balls to actually bring a case. And I guess what I'm trying to say here is there is very much an appetite in many sectors of government to take on this battle against Scientology, to revoke the tax exemption. And it's one of these things where if you're going to go after them, you better not miss, because if you miss, you're done for. And so I do have a bit of sympathy for the federal powers that be that want this fight, are working on it, and know that they have to wait for their shot. Yeah. And I do like letting people know that things are happening, and it's not that no one's aware or no one understands or no one cares. It's just very slow, and they need to make sure that if they're going to take this shot, they're not going to miss.
Right.
Now, when it comes to now, that's like the federal law enforcement agencies. The legislature is a completely different matter. Because when I'm talking about it's states' attorneys really that have to have the appetite to bring a case once the case has been made, and those people are elected officials. So that's bringing cases, right? You then have the tax exemption issue, which is more something specifically for the executive branch of government, and then the legislative branch of government, and the Ways and Means Committee members have a lot of influence into what happens in that regard. And that's where popular grassroots movements, I think, have a lot of power, especially if they're just something that keep building and building and growing. And it's not just a flash in the pan, fun thing to do to go troll Scientology centers. But if it's something, it's a serious activity, it's a concerted, a consistent activity. And it's not just giving people a hard time or making fun of people. It's genuinely spreading awareness on how Scientology is human trafficking people, how it destroys lives, how it tries to bring in new members purely by tricking them. And this is the kind of exposure, especially the exposure happening on platforms like TikTok, where eventually it's just going to be common knowledge for everyone under the age of 25 that Scientology is a dangerous cult that you want to stay far away from, and do everything in your power to keep your friends and family from joining. Eventually, that's just going to be something everyone knows. And Scientology won't be able to survive that long term. And hopefully that sort of knowledge will eventually evolves into enough grassroots efforts, enough campaigns to grassroots pressure to get legislators to demand that the IRS review this tax exempt status. So I think everything that's happening advances that whole agenda forward. And one of the things that I think is worth commenting on is that what's happening right now, I carelessly and casually call it the TikTok crew. I need a better name, but that's all I've got for now. It spawned on its own right. It didn't even spawn as some sort of an offshoot or jumping off point from SPTV.
Right.
It purely created it on its own. And that's one of the things that I think is so amazing. It's not even accurate to call it some sort of evolution, because it was its own thing. It had nothing to do with any of the content being put up by former Scientologists, aside from the fact that people who are doing this work and want to do this work, they have been able to learn a lot about Scientology from watching all of our content. And that has helped them in their approach or their messaging or their conversations. Like Chris without a Hellcat is one of the guys who does fantastic chats and interviews with actual Scientologists. Well, the more informed he is on some of the things he's asking questions about, he's able to ask better questions that elicit better responses, because the person he's talking to gets the sense, that this guy actually is this guy knows what he's asking about. It doesn't just sound like he's trolling them or making fun of them. He's asking real questions.
I was very impressed. I was very impressed last night listening to William Good when a guy asked him, "Hey, what makes Scientology a cult?" And he explained it, and he told him about Xenu and the body thetans and all the, and the abuses and everything. And I was like, that was right on. It sounded as if he was an ex-Scientologist himself, but he knows his stuff. So I thought it was really great. Good. Yeah, he really, really is. Am I squeaking? Some people are saying I'm squeaking.
I love when you squeak. It's adorable.
I was honking and buzzing the other day on the Oh my God. I want to do some of those with you, Aaron. That was hilarious. Kelly did
you joined the video job. That you did with Kelly?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was watching that. That was so freaking funny.
Yeah, it was awesome. Okay, so I'm not squeaking. Yeah, okay.
You mean like the way you squeak when you talk, it's like it's a little breathy and it squeaks?
Oh, I don't know. I thought maybe it was my mic, but maybe
it's not your mic.
It's probably me. Sorry, guys.
I love it.
I have no idea. I sound like a squirrel. Thank you. I do live around a lot of squirrels. I'm not squeaking. Laura FM said. Yes. Okay.
Laura says you're not squeaking. Only laughter squeaks.
Okay. I laugh a lot. You gotta laugh.
Squeaky squirrel voice is adorbs.
Thank you. Your $20 is in the mail, Amy Lee SP. You're sweet. Okay. So I have something else that's been on my mind. Sorry. I'm going to hold you accountable, Aaron. You know,
Go
we're
ahead.
friends, but I have a question, and you know, we can talk about stuff, and we're not in a cult, so we can ask questions, right? Is that correct?
Absolutely.
We're not in a cult. Okay. Okay.
No.
So I'm going to preface by saying, okay, I have a question regarding your involvement, non-involvement, whatever, regarding I've been hearing some talk about the next IAS protest in the UK, and I want to say I thought it was wonderful, amazing. Seriously, I think it was a success. I might take my hat off, and Rodney would take his hat off to you to the people involved, but we don't want that to happen. So Rodney says hi. He's happy to see everybody.
Hi,
Um,
Rodney.
yeah, I think that the people that flew, you know, to across this country to the UK, Clearwater Claire, the tailor, was out there every day. I think you're wonderful, and I think it was great. My question is, and I have posed this to Alex Barnes Ross. He does not want to go public, even in writing on email or on a live. He did offer to talk to me on a private Zoom meeting or a FaceTime, which I think that because these things were said publicly, I think they need to be asked publicly and retracted or explained publicly. That's just the way I feel. You know, is if something's said publicly, then you know it should be explained publicly. So my question to you, since I'm not getting answers, is I saw right before the IS protest about a couple of weeks maybe, there was a huge promotion and push on your channel in your chats constantly. I saw it many, many, many times that if Alex Barnes Ross got 10,000 subscribers, that the IS protest, the 3 streams, live streams, would be a fundraiser for the Aftermath Foundation. And, you know, that's on video. He said it publicly. And he did get the 10,000. I went there with bells on, ready to donate when those were going on, and I was told by people, random people I didn't know in the chat, no, it's not. And I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, I'm confused about that because, and you were on the Aftermath board at the time, and also it was being promoted on your channel. So that's why I'm asking you. I'm in the nonprofit sector myself. I founded a nonprofit. I know a lot of founders and presidents and board members of nonprofits. No one needs to ask permission or get permission to fundraise. Like if any of you old folks have Facebook, do you ever raise money for a birthday, you know, for your birthday for a nonprofit? Do you call them and ask for permission? No, it's not a thing. So it's been said that Alex Barnes, and I don't, I'll say that in a minute, but that he couldn't get permission from the Aftermath, or they told him no, or somebody on the board told him no. So I'm just confused about that. And I just want to say too, I might be being petty. I'm not being facetious, but I call him Alex Barnes Ross because I prefer not to say apostate Alex, because that's a Christian biblical term in my eyes. And you don't see my channel is not called you know, SP Maryland or Mormon Maryland, if you like alliterations, you know, apostate Alex. I just think that I don't know. I just think something seems a little fishy. So because it was promoted on your channel, I want to throw this to you. And what say you, AA Ron? That's up.
Well, that being promoted on my channel was being done without my permission and without my knowledge, because I don't watch my live stream or moderate my live stream.
Okay.
And you know, the unfortunate part of what I'm about to say is that I wish I could support Alex or promote what he does or signal boost him, because he does good work. But I can't, because he's a bit of a fraud and a grifter and a liar. And you know, it's unfortunate because he's clearly shown that he's able to execute and organize and show initiative and ambition. And I'd love him to be a part of the community who I could help lift up and support, but I can't, because I don't support frauds and grifters and liars, no matter how good the work that they do is. So, you know, instead of giving a couple hundred examples, I'll just give a few of the biggest ones. Alex had been doing videos for months talking about creating his own nonprofit foundation to basically fill the holes of all the people the Aftermath Foundation wasn't helping. Now, well, there should be 20 foundations. Nobody has a monopoly on fundraising to help former Scientologists. At the time, what bothered me is he was specifically targeting people who he knew were associated with the Aftermath Foundation and asking them to join his board. Again, that'll sound a little petty that I care about that. But when I heard about that stuff, I still left Alex alone. I said, look, I'm not the gatekeeper for anything. We could have 20 foundations. I thought it was weird because he's just brand new on the scene and he wants to create a foundation that is obviously going to be viewed as either competing with the foundation or cleaning up the foundation's mess or helping people that slip through the foundation's cracks. And it was just weird. Okay. The point, I'm going to jump around here, but I'm going to try to keep it organized here. The point where I was like, no, it's time for me to tell Alex that I have a problem with what he's doing is when he started asking me specifically, not in my live stream, but texting me personally saying, hey, can you help me hit 10,000 subscribers so that I can do a fundraiser for the Aftermath Foundation? And I'm thinking, me and the other board members raised like $30,000 at a pop doing a 1-hour video. Why? And I'm happy to help anyone get subscribers. I helped Zach get subscribers, hit the 10,000 threshold so that he could do a fundraiser for a nonprofit that has nothing to do with Scientology. But what I called Alex, I said, Alex, I have a big problem with what you're doing. You keep talking about this other foundation that you created. Why are you using my and our foundation, the Aftermath Foundation? Why are you using our foundation for clout and for subscribers instead of your own foundation? If you're going to create your own, promote your own. Don't ride on our coattails to build you subscribers, making it look like we've asked you to do a fundraiser for us when we haven't. Like, you said you wanted to do this. You announced that you wanted to do this. Then just do it. But like, we're not asking you to, and it's not now our job to help get you subscribers to raise money for our organization. Anyway, in this conversation is when he admitted he had never really created his foundation. And I said, dude, I've been hearing about this thing for months. You haven't even created it. You've been talking about it for months. I said, Alex, that is even worse as far as chasing clout. So you've been talking and talking and talking for months about creating this foundation and you haven't done shit. And he's like, no. And I was like, okay, fine. So the problem is where I'm going with this is Alex hit his 10,000 subscriber threshold specifically because he was going to do these live stream fundraisers. Mm-hmm. He then decided that he was going to tell people that I told him he wasn't allowed to do the fundraiser. It was a total lie. It was completely false. The only reason I called him complaining about him using the Aftermath Foundation for clout is because I thought he had already created his own foundation. And now when he told me he had not created his own foundation, I said, okay, fine. And we shortly thereafter ended the conversation. I never told Alex not to do a foundation for the Aftermath Foundation, a fundraiser for the Aftermath Foundation. Mm-hmm. Even further, the morning of, the foundation board members already had a pre-scheduled live stream fundraiser to coincide with the IAS event. Alex knew that. So he already knew the biggest channels and the board members were already going to do a live stream fundraiser for our own foundation. The morning that Alex was scheduling his first protest stream, he asked Claire Headley if he could create a fundraiser, but just join the one that we were already doing. In other words, all the money Alex raised and all the money the board members raised would just go into one giant pot. Now, there is no reason to do that. The only reason to do that is so that Alex could take credit for what we were already doing. And I said, and Claire actually texted me, hey, Aaron, do you mind if he links his fundraiser up to our fundraiser? I said, why would he do that? Why? It takes 3 seconds to set up a fundraiser. There's literally no reason for him to link it to ours. He can create a separate foundation fundraiser, a separate live stream, and then he'll be able to take all the credit for the money that he raised. And that's what Claire told him. She said, no, don't link it to our fundraiser. Just create your own. If you have any questions on how to create your own, we'll walk you through it. It takes 5 seconds. Alex chose not to. Once Alex learned that he wasn't going to be able to ride on our coattails and take credit for all the money we were already going to raise, he chose not to do it at all. And then he ran around telling people behind the scenes that I told him he didn't have permission to do a fundraiser. It was a complete lie. And not only that, prior to that, he had been lying to people in our community saying that we asked him to join the board of the foundation. Prior to that, he was lying to people in the community, saying that we asked him to be the UK representative of the Aftermath Foundation. None of these things were ever true. And then all of this is in addition to the fact that if you look at my original interview that I ever did with Alexander Barnes Ross, there's a point in that interview where I actually call him out. I say, why did Scientology tell you you weren't allowed to come back? And he gave me an answer. And I said, yeah, hold on. I said, stop. That's not the reason. I said, someone hasn't. Now, at this time, I was still being very benevolent and generous and giving him the benefit of the doubt. I said, Alex, someone's lied to you about why you weren't allowed to come back. That's not the reason. He said, like, my mom once had a conversation with someone who knew an SP. I said, that's not why Scientology told you not to come back. And by the way, usually when Scientology tells someone not to come back, usually it's the ethics officer telling them that. In Alexander's case, he says it was the director of special affairs. If the director of special affairs is calling you, telling you not to come back, there's a very important reason that they're telling you that. Scientology is not in the business of getting rid of anyone. Okay. I'm mentioning this because there's something wrong with Alex's story. He has not been honest about why they kicked him out. They kicked him out twice. He's not been honest about it. And as far as I'm concerned, there's no one in our community that I can tell you other than Alex who's not being honest about their Scientology story. Actually, there's one other person, but the only thing they're being dishonest about is the exact reason they got kicked out of the Sea Org. And I'm not going to drag that person into the conversation. And if you're in this community and there's clearly something you're leaving out of your story, I'm going to assume there's a very damn good reason you're leaving that part of your story out. And I'm not going to have anything to do with you. You know what I'm saying? So after the phone call that I had with Alex, where I said, dude, stop using the Aftermath Foundation for clout when behind the scenes you're creating a competing foundation. I said, go ahead and create 10 competing foundations. But if you're going to do that, stop using the Aftermath Foundation for clout. He then sent an email to Amy and Claire reporting to them. He wanted them to know how the vice president of the foundation was treating fellow survivors. Let me tell you something. Alexander Barnes Ross joined Scientology after watching a documentary about how horrible and abusive it was. He watched a John Sweeney documentary and said, wow, that's interesting. I should go find out for myself and see if that documentary is true. He then joined Scientology, and when he got there, he didn't decide that what John Sweeney said was true. Alexander loved everything that he found, and he loved Scientology, and he joined it. He wasn't recruited into Scientology. He ran into their arms and said, please let me be one of you. And then they kicked him out. And then he said, please let me come back. And then they let him back. And then they kicked him out again. And that was 9 years ago. And now he's processing his trauma and is a fellow survivor. You know, when he first came out, he said, I'm the first a British Scientologist to ever speak out. And then it was like, oops, that's not true. I have to stop saying that. Oh, I'm the first British staff member to ever speak out. He's like, oops, that's not true. I better stop saying that. And then he's like, I'm the biggest SP in the UK. Like, I'm not going to support grifters. I'm not going to support clout chasers. I'm not going to support fraudsters and liars. But the thing is, Alexander, ironically, does very good work. He does good research. He does good writing. He's extremely persistent. And it's not about Alexander not having the bona fides or the bona fides, whatever the right words is. Guys, I'm very honest about my story. I was never at international management. I was never at middle management. I was never at continental management. I didn't know David Miscavige. I didn't know Shelley Miscavige. I've never met Tom Cruise. When I tell my story, I tell my story exactly as it is, right, exactly who I am, what I did, and not an ounce more. Honesty, genuineness, transparency, being as honest as possible. That is what is valuable and what people connect with in this, I'll say, movement that we're involved in. There's enough people out there being as honest and genuine, as transparent as possible, that I have no bandwidth or patience for anyone who wants to come in here and lie about shit and step on people and step over people and try to take sides and try to foment conflict. And that's the other thing Alex does, is he inserts himself into conflict and tries to become besties with whoever he thinks is going to win that conflict. You know, he was very quick to jump into the live streams of Mark, Mike, and Claire to shit all over me before he realized that wasn't going to work out for him very well. When Goldie was everyone's moderator, he made best friends with Goldie. When Vanessa came on the scenes, he made best friends with Vanessa. Then now who is it? Who is it now? Then Amy Scobie came on the scene. He wanted to be best friends with Amy Scobie. By the way, when Alex disappeared for those 2 days and said, "Oh, my phone died," that was a total lie. That was a total lie. Alex intentionally turned off his phone and hibernated for a couple days so that people would worry about him and he would get sympathy and attention. And in the email that he sent to the Aftermath Foundation board after he came out of his hibernation, he admitted his phone didn't die. He didn't fall asleep and forget to wake up. He intentionally turned off his phone because Aaron made him feel no one liked him. That's the other thing Alex does that makes him a liar. You have a conversation with him, he will go to other people and completely misrepresent the conversation. He's constantly trying to pit people against each other. Yeah. He's constantly trying to pit people against each other and alter communications and say, this person said this to me. He's kissing up to Karen De La Carriere and Jeff Augustine. And behind the scenes, he's texting everyone else about how horrible it is that he has to get 40 text messages and phone calls from them all day long and whatnot. Like, he's a clout chaser, and I don't have any patience for it. And it's not even that I don't want him to be a part of the community. Everyone has the right to be a part of the community. The thing is, Alex does fantastic work. If he would stop lying about his story, stop lying, using other people for clout. Like if he's talking to someone, he'll always be name dropping everyone else. Inappropriate, meaning he's always trying to give people the impression that he's the best friend and the confidant of whoever he thinks is in power. And you know, and that's the thing. The fact that he managed to suck up to Mike and get Mike and Leah to bring him on gave a lot of people the impression, oh shit, we can't say anything about Alex because Alex is in the in group. You know me, I don't give a shit about any of that, you know? So the problem is, and the reason I get a little pissed off about this is that I would have loved to have promoted the protest in the UK, and I got a lot of shit for not promoting it. I didn't promote it because I wasn't going to promote a grifter. If Alex wants to be all that, he can be all that on his own. I'm under no obligation or responsibility to amplify or signal boost anyone who I don't think is being an honest actor. And unfortunately, Alex is a dishonest actor who does a lot of very good work. And if he just changed his narrative and just stopped trying to be something that he's not, I'd be happy to support him. But I'm not very optimistic that such a change is possible, because I suspect that the kind of behavior we've seen in our community, I suspect that is somewhat the type of behavior that made Scientology go, there's something wrong with this guy and we're not comfortable having him around anymore. Like the fact that Alexander Barnes Ross, as a brand new staff member, figured out how to get onto the telex machine and message David Miscavige to let him know, I'm here, sir, and I'm here to work for you, is like, in Scientology, that would make people go, you did what? Not even like because it's against the rules, but because it's kind of ridiculous. You tried to telex David Miscavige? What, like, what? I've never even heard of that before. Why would anyone do that? Anyway, I'm probably getting a little further off into the weeds than is necessary. I promote people who are out there telling honest stories, and that's pretty much everyone in our community. And when I hear Alex, when I hear examples of him successfully pitting people against each other, or constantly crying, constantly looking for shoulders to cry on, to complain about people he thinks aren't giving him enough attention and respect, I go, people like this are trouble. I mean, not just in our community, but in life. Like, people like that are trouble. You know, he says, oh, I'm doing this full time now. I go, why are you lying? Like, I don't even do this full time, and I do 4 videos a day. How can you be doing this full time? You do like a video every 3 days. Like, why do you keep lying about what you're doing? Why do you keep trying to get other people to co-sign for you? Why? Like anyway, you got to stop me because I'll keep going on forever.
Yeah, a couple thoughts. Okay, so it does make sense as far as some questions I had that I haven't asked you, but you answered. The timeline of Alex's disappearance didn't make any sense. He actually called me the night before he disappeared, and was, you know, just kind of venting on, you know, something that I just listened. And he was like, thank you. I know what I need to do now. It was regarding Goldie, that he was going to deal with that situation because he had merch and he had all kinds of, you know, thing. And said he just disappeared. So what was strange about it was that when he came out and was 24 hours later or whenever it was, I'm back, it didn't make any sense, because like his friend, I didn't never considered myself a friend of his. He just, you know, would reach out to me once in a while. And he told me he was, you know, best friends with Kelly Copter, which I found out was absolutely not true. And I know she would want me to clear that up. Not true. And she's come under fire for just making some very nice, inquiries on her streams about why this wasn't a fundraiser when you were promised, and the receipts are there. The receipts are there. I would like to know.
That's how this actually came up, by the way. I'm sorry, just don't lose that train of thought.
Okay,
there.
no, I won't.
Is, Kelly's a very no bullshit individual, and I respect the hell out of Kelly. And at one point she called me and she said, look, I just got to ask you. I've been giving Alex shit for not turning his live stream into a fundraiser. And he told me that you told him he couldn't do that. Is there any truth to that? And I'm like, thank God you asked me, Kelly, because no, that is a blatant lie. And I sent Kelly the screenshots of text messages, and I forwarded her the emails to prove. I said, Kelly, I know you believe me, but I don't want you to just have to take my word for it. Let me send you the documentation so that you know beyond any shadow of a doubt that I'm being honest with you. And I sent her the screenshots and the emails, and she goes, that's all I needed. And I'm like, thank you for asking. And please let everyone know that. Let everyone who Alex is blaming me, let everyone to whom Alex is telling I'm the reason he didn't do a fundraiser, please let them know that it's just a blatant lie. So that's how it even came on my radar that he was saying that shit.
Yeah. And when I went to the streams asking how to donate, because I see all these super chats flying by and all these, over 1,000 people watching, which, probably wouldn't have happened. In my opinion, I think there's probably a lot of people that subscribed and were watching because they wanted to support not only the protest, but also the Aftermath Foundation. So when I asked, I kind of got, kind of browbeating stuff down, like, what do you mean? Blah, blah, blah. And I don't know these people. So I want to know, Alex hasn't answered me. Where did all the super chat revenue and the ad revenue go to? If it wasn't, it was,
Oh, I mean, of course that went to him. I mean, of course that went to him, but I honestly, to be perfectly forthright and fair, I don't blame anyone for keeping their super chats. Either make it a fundraiser or don't make it a.
Right. But if you say it's going to be a fundraiser and it's not.
That's right. Most people don't understand the difference between an actual fundraiser and just a live stream where you do super chats. So a lot of people who were super chatting, that's actually, I get your point now. A lot of people who were super chatting did think they were contributing to an Aftermath Foundation fundraiser, when in reality, Alex was just pocketing all that money. Now, I would have no problem with someone live streaming something and just pocketing the super chats. That's one of the things we're doing here on YouTube is making money.
Just be honest about it.
But don't say it's a fundraiser and then not make it a fundraiser.
Right. That's my point.
And honestly, it would be extremely inefficient to donate super chat money to a foundation because YouTube already took 30% of that money. So, but that's the thing. It would have taken Alex 3 seconds and one click of a button to create an Aftermath Foundation fundraiser, to create his live stream into an Aftermath Foundation fundraiser. It did not require linking up with a pre-existing Aftermath Foundation board live stream. He just didn't want to be on his own and have to either take credit or responsibility for how much or how little was raised on the live stream. He wanted to be able to ride the coattails of the $30,000 he already knew we were going to raise without his help. And it's like, Alex, if you want to help, just help. It doesn't have to be on the coattails of others. It doesn't have to be something I said, Alex, you realize that you are giving our community the impression that we have asked you specifically to help us shoulder this fundraising burden because you're in our live streams asking our audience to subscribe to you so that you can raise money for our organization. I said, you realize you are doing this to create this impression that somehow we've tagged you in on this fundraising effort instead of just doing it on your own. And anyway, I couldn't, our conversation didn't go well because he would never actually, our conversation didn't go very well because he was just constantly denying everything.
Well, that's why I asked you, because I see a lot of gimmicks going on. I believe he uses fourth wall or something like fourth wall, and he'll put it out there that he only has, there's these PTS shirts with blobs on them. He only has so many left. They're made to order. It's just, I don't know. Everything's like, get it while it's hot and all that. I've gotten to know a lot of the second gens who have been literally tortured in the hotels, as Serge would say. And my heart goes out to them. I absolutely adore them. And if Alex was honest about it, my heart goes out to him too, but he's not being honest. And I feel like if anyone deserves 10,000 followers and that kind of platform, it are these second gens who actually have lived it. and are out there on the streets pouring their hearts out and being honest and trying to really help people. I don't know. I'm not the thought police. Alex can do whatever he wants. People can make up their own mind. I'm not trying to cancel anybody. I'm just trying to ask you, as you know, because I'm not getting answers, Aaron, because you were on the board at the time and things were said that I guess aren't true. And you said you have receipts for it. And it was being promoted on your channel. I saw
That's
it many,
right.
many,
And
many
that's one of the things that really, because I don't watch my own live stream, I was sort of annoyed when I could see out of the corner of my eye that Alex kept promoting that in my live stream, that to help him get 10,000 subscribers. But it was just out of the corner of my eye. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't until he texted me directly, "Hey, Aaron, can you help me get to 10,000 subscribers so I can promote do a fundraiser for the Aftermath Foundation?" And I'm thinking to myself, Alex, what are you talking about? Like, when me and the board members do a live, we raise $30,000 in an hour. Why am I going to be like, go subscribe to Alex so Alex can raise money for the foundation? I was like, what? There's something about it that's not computing. I didn't know if I was just, I didn't know if I was just in a bad mood. There was something about it that just really pissed me off. And then it was when I kept hearing that he's starting his own foundation anyway, that I was like, I just called him. I'm like, look, if you're starting your own foundation, why are you still using our foundation to generate subscribers for yourself? It doesn't seem honest. And anyway, the conversation didn't go well, to say the least. And then Alex went into hiding for a couple of days, and then complained to the foundation that how he just wanted Claire to know how the vice president of the foundation was treating fellow survivors. Alex did not have any family in Scientology. He says he was recruited into Scientology when he was a teenager. Alex, after finishing high school, went running into the arms of Scientology and joined. Nobody even recruited this guy into Scientology. Mm-hmm. He changes his story about his ages and the dates that he got in and how long he was in and when he left. He's got this story of being locked in a room in a building to finish doing his OW write-ups. But then in other versions of the story, he'll say, "I tried to leave the room and the ethics officer put his hand on the door." I go, wait a second. Did he put his hand on the door? Yeah. Or were you locked in the room? Because if you're locked, why would he put his hand on the door if the door was locked? And you know what? Those doors don't lock from the outside. They lock from the inside. So it's like, why are you out here spinning? Why are you being so weirdly dishonest? And why haven't you given the real reason that Scientology told you you weren't allowed to come back anymore? I've gone over my original interview with him to make sure I wasn't misremembering things and getting any of the details wrong. And his story that he tells about why he ended up being kicked out of Scientology is just not honest. He's not being honest about that story. And I encourage anyone to watch my original interview with him where I actually call him out for that. So anyway.
Well,
yeah,
there you have it.
And now I felt bad because Jeff from Canada was out there in the UK, and he was out there for a couple of weeks, and he was doing a lot of fantastic work. And my viewers, well, I shouldn't say my viewers, a lot of Alex's fans were in my chat, literally giving me shit for not, boosting Alex more. And I had to privately message Jeff and be like, Jeff, I'm really sorry, dude. I'd love to be able to promote what you guys are doing, but Alex is running a little bit of a scam over there. He told everyone to subscribe to his channel, do a fundraiser. Now he's not only is he not doing a fundraiser, but he's lying to people about me being the reason why. I'm just not going to signal boost what he's doing. I said, thankfully, there's plenty of other channels who are signal boosting him. I don't owe him anything. I can signal boost who I want when I want, and I'm just not going to boost him. I'm sorry if you're sort of being, caught in the crossfire here as collateral damage. But I said, nothing personal to you, all respect to what you're doing. But I said, if anyone, but Alex was, taking credit for everything that's going on over there.
Yeah. That's another thing.
I'd be happy to promote.
He was calling it my protest, as in Alex Barnes Ross's PTSD type D, his protest. It wasn't his protest. It wasn't his protest, but I think he slipped. I think his mask is slipping.
Well, and the other thing that really pissed me off is he kept throwing shade, and so did Tony Ortega. Alex and Tony Ortega kept throwing shade at Alex Nicholas, who the Eat Predators girl. I always get the first Alexa Nicholas, and the Jane Does, and the Danny Masterson Jane Does had just participated a week or two earlier in a demonstration in LA. And they kept throwing shade at those girls in that demonstration by saying, oh, it's so good to see a protest done properly. And that's well organized and that's respectful. That's the other thing. He kept tooting his own horn about he was doing it the right way. He was being nice and polite. And so he really impinged on the Scientologists. It's like you're saying pip, pip, cheerio. Scientology has to go. Do you think a Scientologist thinks how nice you're being when you say that? You're still saying Scientology must go. It doesn't matter how nice or polite you're being. I'm not saying they shouldn't have used that slogan. I'm saying stop acting like you've now perfected the way to really get through to Scientologists. It was just completely throwing shade at what the Jane Does and Alex Nicholas had done a couple weeks earlier, and they knew damn well that's what they were saying.
Yeah, and those ladies have gone through hell. Also with the second gens as well, and that's what.
And you don't have to pump yourself up. You don't have to pump yourself up by comparing the ways you're better than something else. Just do what you're doing and do it well. But stop constantly playing this comparison game and I'm the best this, I'm the first that. It's like, good Lord. I mean,
everyone's bringing up Doug. Doug, my friend, Doug called it a long time ago. Just saying, Lone Dinosaur 13. Doug saw through him early on. God bless you, Doug. I mean, he called a lot of this stuff. Just saying. Can I you want to read a couple of super chats and then wrap it up?
Go for it.
I know you have
Go for it.
A bunch of stuff going on.
Go for it.
Okay. We got Brittany Rogers. You want to read them? It's your stream.
Is it my stream? I couldn't tell. I couldn't remember. Brittany Rogers, I love the things that you guys do. I'm proud of you both. So happy that more and more people are getting out there to speak up. Absolutely.
Thank you, Brittany.
Okay, I will. I'll go ahead and pull these up. Amy Lee SP. Not a fan of Alex, but to be fair, I think Scientology uses apostate when referring to people who speak out like Leah. That is true. A Scientology calls them bitter, defruct apostates. So that's probably where.
But isn't that kind of a new thing, though? I mean, okay, I'm going to defend myself here because I do have a little pet peeve about that. I think that he was declared on Goldenrod a PTS type D. So
that's right. He was not declared a suppressive person.
Right. And he was declared PTS. And I don't know. It could be petty. I apologize, Amy. But yeah, I just.
So the thing is here.
I prefer not to call him apostate Alex because I think that it's a gimmick. It's a gimmick.
So what happened is Scientology started using religious scholars, religious academics, to write white papers on how apostates cannot be considered a legitimate source of information about the religious groups they've left. And these white papers are sometimes used by Scientology and submitted to the courts to get declarations of former Scientologists thrown out. So it's a religious term, almost an academic term that Scientology has co-opted and used for their own to fight their legal battles for them. It's funny. It's not a word Scientologists actually use. Apostate Scientologists do not use that word.
Right. It's not in their doctrine that's my only point was. And
yes,
I'll let it go.
True.
Now that I got it out there, I got it off my chest. I'll let it go.
That's true. Okay, Brett Grace, we are a year into the SPTV phenomenon, and I'm curious if you guys think Scientology has bought off any SPTV creators. Don't have to name names, but I'm just curious how they're responding to all of this. I personally don't think Scientology's bought anyone off, except I do think that Tony D'Amato, Zero Dark Tony, I do think he actually works for Scientology, whether he knows it or not. If you guys look at the amount of views that Tony D'Amato, aka Zero Dark Tony, if you look at the amount of views his channel gets, take it from someone who understands YouTube analytics and YouTube revenue. Tony D'Amato makes approximately $16 a month from YouTube. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe it's $200 a month from YouTube. This guy's been doing videos every single day for the last 4 or 5 months, attacking every single SPTV creator. And I know where Tony D'Amato lives. There's a few current addresses, and I even tried to help serve him I even tried to help Vanessa serve him the last time I was in Los Angeles because, well, the guy's a monster. The guy's a freak. But I also know how hard it is to grow a YouTube channel. And I know that sometimes drama and attacks can increase subscribers and increase views. And if that's what was happening over on the Zero Dark Tony channel, then I would explain it away. He's just trying to make money. But Tony
Yeah.
doesn't make money, and his channel hasn't grown. And he has a horrible reputation. Who wants to be known as the guy who attacks all former Scientologists? So I do believe that Tony D'Amato, aka Zero Dark Tony, I do believe he's working for Scientology. Somehow someone's paying him, because also he lives in Hollywood. It's not cheap to live there. But the guy does YouTube all the time, and the guy makes no money doing it. So who's paying his bills? What's the incentive for him to keep doing content like this? Because it's not growing his subscribers, it's not growing his view count. It's been a disaster for him. I don't think anyone else in the former Scientology world or the SPTV world is bought off by Scientology. Interestingly enough, the only other person in the former Scientology community that I've seen accused as a spy lately, actually still working on Scientology's payroll, is a gentleman named Mike Laws, who's not a part of the SPTV community. And ironically, that rumor came from Amy Scobie. So I'm not even sure if it's true. I tend not to believe that it's true because of other things that have come out since then. I think Amy was just throwing Mike Laws under the bus at that moment. But Mike Laws, if you're out there, just know I'm not the one who came up with the rumor that you're a Scientology spy. That was Amy Scobie. So call me if you have any questions about that. But Mike Laws isn't part of the SPTV community. He doesn't have a YouTube channel. He's been on my channel years ago. I mean, he's a great guy, does great work, but I wouldn't consider him part of SPTV. And no, I don't think anyone's bought off. We haven't had our Marty Rathbun moment yet. I'm still waiting for the moment that someone in SPTV has the Marty Rathbun moment. And I hope that day never comes, but even if it does come, we'll figure out how to take care of it. Okay, Alicia Medley says, thank you. Thank you, Alicia. What is this? CO Bilf. Is Alex really considering my marriage proposal, or am I being led along?
You never know. I don't know.
I love it.
He made a butter sculpture of Alex and everything.
Okay. What are we talking about here? Why are we letting anyone self-promote in the chats? Chow Yun Smut seems to be doing that lately.
Can I answer
self-promoting. Yeah. What is this referring to?
Okay. So this is referring to the SP cruise that is being planned for September. It's by Cricket, aka Chow Yun Smut. And she is a travel advisor, but she's doing this completely out of the goodness of her heart. She's not charging anything. She's just promoting the cruise. So she's not promoting herself, and she's not getting a penny for it. So I think it's fine. And at least I let her do it on my channel. And are you considering going on this cruise, Aaron? Come on, say yes.
I am considering it.
You hear that, guys?
I am considering.
You better book up by March 2nd.
And I got to tell you, I got to be perfectly honest. The only thing that makes me hesitate is being stuck in a boat with a bunch of people who I just don't understand their intentions. So, for example, on my channel, since November 13th, I've been pretty open about how someone named Juliana Cohen tried to systematically destroy my life for 6 or 7 months straight. And, Michelle Carpenter and Juliana Bittencourt and Pete Jensen went and found this person and invited her into the SPTV Discord server. And they silenced and censored anyone who tried to say anything unkind or questioning her story in any way. And I go, I know there's a lot of people out there who think Michelle Carpenter and Pete Jensen and Juliana Bittencourt are somehow like standard bearers for the never in members of the SPTV. And as far as I'm sitting here going, standard bearers, these guys are literally taking a woman who tried to lie about me, destroy me, tried to destroy my life, tried to get me fired from the Aftermath Foundation, and they're treating her like a hero over there. And they do nothing but talk shit about the biggest SPTV creators. So I wouldn't want to be stuck on a boat with Michelle Carpenter and Juliana Bittencourt or Pete Jensen. And how do I know this crazy Juliana Cohen won't show up on the cruise? Because anyone can join. So things like that are the only thing that make me even hesitate. But yes, I'm definitely considering going on the cruise.
I do know who is booked into the group, which is a nod to Doug. It's called Zena Marlene, because he always wanted to help me promote Marlene's name. So, but I didn't expect them to name it that. But Chow Yun Smut, she insisted on SPs at Sea, Zenu Marlene. So she has the list. I've seen it, including myself and my husband. And of course, they could always book, but they won't be able to have access to any of the SPs at Sea groups. So, the cocktail party, all the things. So if somebody books, aside, it's a big ship. Yeah. So Aaron, if you're going, and then everybody else, so far, nobody that you don't like is going, and yeah, they won't be booked with our group. I can guarantee you that. So book up those passes. I'm so excited. It's gonna be so much fun. I've never been anywhere like out of the holler. So anyways.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, Robert Van Leer. My wife is your #1 fan. Oh, Marjan Kekavusi.
Oh, Marjan, yes.
Okay,
Love
so
her.
yes, I see Marjan all the time.
Love her.
Oh no, Nora says check your texts. I'm checking these texts.
Hold on. No, Nora. Does she want to pop on?
No, hold on. I'm looking at them, but there's nothing I can do with this live.
Second gen, legit. Her story about her shoes, where she broke her, and she still has problems with her ankle. I was crying. I mean, just the shit this girl went through. Love you, Nora.
Yeah.
Love you, Nora.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay, fine. Oh, you know what? I'll just bring this up. Ian Wilson, Alex may be a weirdo, but you sure do fall out with a long list of former Scientologists. You're a problem too.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Yeah.
It's an interesting point. Here's the thing, Ian. If you were to put together a whole chart, a whole diagram of all the former Scientologist staff members, SEERG members that exist out here in the real world, you're going to find that almost all of them have fallen out with a long list of other former members. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of former Scientologists. Just think in your own life, how many actual close friends you actually have. And, especially like, look, my personality that you see on camera is the personality that you see in life. I can be brash. I can be emotional. I can overreact. I can take things personally. That is who I am. But I pretty much consider everyone's my friend until they show me that they're not. I'm very inclusive. I'm very, I consider everybody is my friend until I'm given a reason to believe that they're not. And honestly, once someone gives me that reason, it's very hard to go back. So, I get what you're saying, Ian. I appreciate it. Let's see. EA, is there a protest or gathering in Austin? If so, how do we find out details? There was supposed to be a grand opening this weekend. That's been postponed. It's not going to be this weekend. I don't yet have confirmation that it's going to be next weekend, but I will do a video about that as needed, EA, for sure. Big Mike, can you explain what happened with Vanessa? I'm actually not going to explain what happened with Vanessa. It's not my business. It's not my life. And I'm not going to comment on it. Vanessa is someone I care about. She's a friend. And Vanessa is going through things in her private life that should remain private unless she chooses to make them personal. And it's totally fine. Okay. Misawa 420 bought my cult t-shirt. Have you heard how members try to recruit from support groups in Orlando, AA and substance meetings? I'm not sure I have heard about this because Scientology doesn't really like former drug addicts that much. I guess it depends on where they're at in their point in recovery. I can imagine Scientology trying to recruit for its Narconon drug rehab program from AA groups. Masawa, if there's anything more I should know about this, can you please email me at growingupinscientology@gmail.com. I'd really, really appreciate it. Okay, let's see. What is this? David Griggs. I wish someone would do a show about the abuses of the wise companies and how they mistreat their employees as I was. David Griggs, I have a video I can do about this. My first job out of the Sea Org was working for Measurable Solutions, the wise business consulting group in Clearwater, Florida. And I ended up taking the owners of that business to wise mediation because of their abusive and predatory management and pay policies. And I won. And one of these days, I should do a video about that. Okay, we got Louis Repetto up in here. What is the alliance between the Nation of Islam and Scientology? Someone convinced Louis Farrakhan that Dianetics was a mental therapy that would help the members of Lewis's group get over a lot of their shared childhood trauma. And kudos to whoever pulled that one off. I believe Reverend Alfredi Johnson is the Scientologist who got Tony Muhammad into Dianetics, and then Tony Muhammad got Louis Farrakhan into Dianetics, is at least my understanding. And once Louis Farrakhan then told every member of his group, the Nation of Islam, that they needed to go and do Dianetics auditing at Scientology. And Scientology set up entire centers just for the Nation of Islam folks to do their Dianetics co-auditing. Now, I thought for sure that involvement was going to stop at Dianetics, because Dianetics doesn't get into past life stuff, at least not as according to the procedure in the original book, Dianetics. The Scientology version of Dianetics does get into the past life stuff, but the Nation of Islam folks, I thought for sure were just going to stick with Scientology. So many of Louis Farrakhan's people have now gone up to do their upper OT levels and learned about Xenu and the body thetans and past lives. And I don't understand what keeps the relationship going, Louis. One of these days, I hope to speak to a member of the Nation of Islam or a former member who has, firsthand experience and how all that went down and what exactly the deal is and what is it they're being told. Because I just feel like it's something I don't actually know enough about. But thank you for the question. Well, I'll tell you what, Marilyn, we've been going for an hour right now. I have 2 other videos I'm supposed to do before we go do the Scientology audit down at Flag this afternoon.
Exciting.
Yes. So guys, I've scheduled it on my channel right now at 10 to 6. I'm going to be starting a live stream, doing some Scientology audit live streams down at Flag in downtown Clearwater. So join me for that. We had a blast yesterday. Oh my God, Marilyn.
What?
Did you see that we got Tampa Brad showed up on the live stream last night?
God, and you were so cute. You're like, Tampa Brad, you reminded me of Sarasota Jerry. He's like, I know Brad, like, I'm your biggest fan. It's AA Ron. Oh, I saw him. It really was him. It was like, I know. Yeah.
But do you know who else showed up and I didn't know it until Reese called me this morning?
Who?
Reese's mother-in-law, Brenda. We caught her on my live stream and I didn't know who it was.
Oh my God! Seriously.
So Reese and I are about to jump on a video as soon as you and I.
All right. Well, let me get out of here so I can watch that. Thank you, everybody.
Everyone.
Sorry if it was intense.
Check the video subscription down below for a link to Marilyn Honig's channel, Coffee Cults and Crafts. Coffee Cults and Crafts or Crafts Cults and Coffee?
Coffee first. Coffee Cults and Crafts. Thank you, everybody.
There you go.
This is great.
Thanks for hanging out with us, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.